Hello and welcome to the Power of Healing Your Energy show. It's all about your light, your energy, your healing. And depression and anxiety are a side effect of not living your life intuitively, not trusting your gut, the lost connections with self, others, and a life of meaning. This is a weekly YouTube podcast show. It talks about your spiritual path, the healing journey, ego, and unconditional love. I'm Christine with 24 Karat Healing. I'm your spiritual medium, intuitive energy coach, and old soul healer. A little bit about me. I had my own depression, anxiety for most of my life, and I basically found meaning and purpose by helping others and leaving the corporate world behind. Each week I have a guest or subject, and of course, this week is no different. This is episode number 20, and is the power of Copal Daselva. And Copal is a shamanic energy healer with over 20 years experience. He has a background in a variety of healing arts, including many shamanic practices, as well as Reiki, tarot, inversion therapy, nutritional health, myofascial release, massage, and the use of essential oils and other natural medicines. With his training and practices from all over the world, including India, Central America, and the Amazon rainforest, Copal brings a wide range of skills to help a person to step up to their next levels of evolution, whether those steps are physical, health, mental, or emotional. And Copal believes that every human being is a powerful healer, and that some people have recognized the fact others have not. His most recent work, the Shamanic Energy Healer training course, is designed to show people how they can heal themselves and others with energy and intention. And welcome, Copal. I'm going to put your mic on here for a minute. There we go. Hi. And
Hi,
welcome to the show.
Thank you, Christine. It's
I'm
lovely to
well.
be here.
I'm well. Yes, it's so lovely that we could connect. Now, let everyone know where you are, because I'm in Canada presently, and you?
I'm currently in Portugal, though you might be able to tell from my accent. I'm from London. We decided to move out here and get a little bit more off-grid and a bit more natural and find somewhere where the energies kind of suit my wardrobe.
So, yeah, so being comfortable. I mean, comfort is number one, right? And living the
It's
life
pretty
that you
important.
want, exactly. So just have a few ladies. I know Michelle earlier she's got, the hands up and all that. She was pretty excited. Hopefully she can join us. Terry Lynn is saying hello. Hi, Terry Lynn.
Hi, Geraldine.
And Tammy
Hi,
Palmer.
Tammy.
Hello. Thank you. Please share this out. Sharing is caring, and it's very, very interesting. This is my 20th episode as well. It is November 20th. And then you mentioned this morning, earlier in the day, that Mercury is coming out of retrograde as well. So,
Finally,
I
a lot of
mean,
people be
beautiful.
sighing relief for that, I'm sure.
Now, how do you see retrogrades? I used to see them as a fearful thing. Now I actually work with that, because is it true the more you push against something, the more it's pushed back on you? Does that
Oh
make
yeah,
sense?
I think that's very true. Anything that you resist will persist, as the saying goes. So, fighting against retrograde, it's like trying to push against a whole planet. That's just it's
Mm.
insane. We can't do that. But I think
Totally.
every planet has its own energy and its own field of influence, and Mercury is particular. But I think there are many advantages to Mercury retrograde. I actually wrote a little survival guide for Mercury retrograde, because a lot of people struggle with it.
Mm.
And I think we can actually work very nicely with the Mercury retrograde energy. In recent years, I've kind of learned much more about this, and I find naturally now my Mercury retrograde is a really enjoyable, pleasurable time for me. I put aside certain things that would just not work so well, and pick up other things that are more appropriate for those times. And I think anyone who's into astrology can have that foresight and see what energies are coming our way. And rather than trying to swim against the tide to,
go with the flow.
Yeah, set your canoe and just go with the direction of the flow of the river. So
yes,
it's much easier.
It is. And Tammy is saying, hallelujah. I hear you. Now, retrograde, normally it affects you're not supposed to make any big commitments or sign any big contracts. And then it also likes to play with electronics and communication. So I think,
well, Mercury has that kind of area of influence, travel, communication, technology. So, it's not a great time to break up a relationship or get back together a relationship, although we see that people tend to break up or get together, during Mercury retrogrades and signing contracts. Yeah, again, not the best time to do it, though, I'm kind of guilty of doing that once or twice. But I think Mercury retrograde in particular requires us to be a little more present, a little bit more patient, and a lot more non-attached. I don't like to say detached, because being detached kind of implies that we don't care.
Yes.
And you said, moments ago, sharing is caring, and caring is really important. So, but non-attached means that we're not fixated on a particular result. We're going to allow whatever's going to be, and be happy and grateful for the blessings that come with that. So Mercury retrograde is a really good time to adopt that attitude. And
definitely.
It's a reminder that comes 3 times a year.
There you go. So tell us a little bit about Copal. How did you become a shamanic energy healer? Where did your journey start?
It's a really difficult question to answer, because I don't think it didn't happen for me in a bolt of lightning. A lot of people who are shaman, I don't call myself a shaman, but a lot of people who are shamans, they've had a very traumatic near-death experience, or perhaps they've died and come back, or and they can say, yeah, this is the moment when I became a shaman. I haven't really had any experience like that. My growth and my development, my spiritual path has come kind of incrementally. I never felt quite at home in my native city, London. I always felt like I needed to be somewhere else. I was feeling pulled somewhere else. I started traveling at 18. I met a really interesting guy in Israel, where I first went traveling, who was from Brazil. He started teaching me about yoga. Never heard of it before. And that turned out to be quite life-changing for me. Okay. And I wanted to explore it more. So I said, well, where does this come from? He says, it comes from India. So naturally, I went to India, and that opened a whole Pandora's box of, spirituality. I learned about chakras, I learned about meditation, and all sorts of things. It was fascinating. And then I got drawn to Central America. I actually fell in love, and I was going to go back to India, but the girl, she said, I'm going to Central America. Do you want to come with? Yeah, why not? So we ended up in Guatemala, and there was a beautiful retreat center there. It's still there on this lake called Atitlan, 1,500 meters above sea level in the crater of this extinct volcano. It's a beautiful place, absolutely stunning. And I spent a month in the retreat center there, and the purpose of the retreat, at least one of them, was to find our individual life's mission. Why are we here on this planet? What are we here to learn? What are we here to do? What's our service? And in the last few days, I was in the yoga class, and I remember I was doing the spinal twist, and first time ever, I had my spine clicked. I was about, 19 at the time. I'd never had that experience before. And this bolt of lightning went up my spine, and a little light bulb went off above my head. And I knew what my purpose in life was. I wanted to live on the land, be self-sufficient, and create some kind of spiritual retreat center, self-sufficient spiritual retreat center. And ever since then, I've been learning all the things that I needed to learn in order to attain that dream, that goal. And I got taken to the Amazon rainforest. Or before that, I'd actually got introduced to ayahuasca, and I started working with this amazing magical plant medicine. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's getting more popular now. I guess probably most people have now. It's a psychotropic tea where the spirit of this medicine takes you by the hand on a journey down your own personal rabbit hole. It just shows you all your stuff. Very scary, but very beautiful at the same time. And my journey with this developed, and I went to the Amazon rainforest, and I met an amazing shaman whose name is Santiago Enrique Paredes Melendez. And over, it's 12 years now, I've been developing a relationship with him and going to the Amazon rainforest.
Sorry, you said his name and I got shivers.
Yeah, I get it too.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah. And I go and I stay with him in the rainforest, and he says, okay, work with this plant. And he gives me a medicine made from a tree or a plant. And I go and I sit in the forest alone for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And I basically sit and meditate with this plant inside my body. This is a process called dieta, very old way of working. And these trees, they come, and the spirit comes and teaches, it speaks to us, and in dreams and in songs, and it's the most beautiful, profound process of study I've ever come across.
Wow. I mean, I could actually, I'm visualizing it. It's because would you say we're disconnected from nature?
Humanity as a whole, very much so. You know, there's like nature and there's humans, and they've become very far apart. And somehow or other, you know, there's this split, this divide. And humanity's become quite lost in the main. Okay. And I guess I've always felt that.
Yeah, and it looks like you froze a little bit, so I'm just going to wait for you to come back. We can hear you, but you're just like a still picture. So I'm just going to go over Tammy's comment. She says, most of the Mercury retrogrades don't usually affect me. Mercury is my ruling planet, but this one affected me. Yes. Typically, the last 2 months of the year are cumulative in regards to energy. Everything is intense. Everything seems to be ramping up. As the collective, it seems, well, at least for us, that the world is getting crazier. Does that make sense? So
yeah, it seems
just
to be.
a lot of stuff happening at the same time. A lot of expectations around holidays, getting caught up in that materialism as well. But yeah, and it affected a lot of people, including myself. Michelle's got, you know, the hands up, amen, hallelujah. Tammy is also asking, what does it mean when your Malin necklace breaks, and what is the proper thing to do? Hers broke on Saturday. Michelle told her to, if the crystal breaks, it's taken on energies for you and it should be buried back into the earth. Well, I mean, that makes sense. Crystalline earth, crystalline grids. Would you recommend that as well?
I think a lot of these times, these spiritual artifacts, let's call them, can take a hit for us. I've been in recent years been wearing, I don't know if you can see this. This is
yes, I saw that bracelet. It was beautiful.
Beaded bracelet. This one was made in Colombia. It's a very traditional thing that they do, and they weave into these pieces of jewelry prayers for health and vitality and for protection on all sorts of things like that. And one time I had one of these when I was in Mexico, and I met this guy. I'm sure he's got some lovely qualities, but he took a dislike to me, and things got heated. He got quite angry, and he kind of sent me some very unpleasant energy through his rage. It's just unconscious rage. I don't think he necessarily intended to, hurt me in that sense. But I don't think he had the kind of power to do that. He wasn't like a witch or anything like that, a brujo. No. But just through his anger and his resentment, whatever it was, this energy came towards me. And this bracelet that I had this beautiful design. It was from a tribe in Brazil, a Caxianawa tribe, and they have this very particular image that they weave into their beadwork. And this bracelet split right down the middle of that design. Wow. Nothing else happened to me, but I felt in that moment that the bracelet took a hit for me. Okay. And I think what Michelle's saying is very accurate, that sometimes these things, especially crystals, break, they often, it's like taking one for the team.
Yes.
And I think if a crystal breaks in that situation, then yeah, it's really good to bury it back in the ground. But the rest of the mala is okay. Maybe you could string another bead onto that mala, and you can continue to use the mala. Because, you know, if it's a mala, it's got a specific number of beads for a particular purpose, for chanting mantras, and it's all connected with sacred numerology. It's you know, it's like, it's not complete. So it would need the extra bead in order to be a complete thing. You could bury the whole mala, you could use it as an offering, or you could fix it. But that particular bead, yeah, I agree with Michelle, bury it in the ground.
Wonderful. Thanks for that. Yes,
yeah.
Give thanks. And Tammy is saying it, that it is beautiful, beautiful. All right. So you guys have any questions about Reiki, about energy healing, about shamans, anything for Copal as well? Now, you used to live in London, but are you just now, you're a world traveler? And I normally tune into my guests before the show just to see what's going on. And I just found that there were big ties to South America. And it was interesting when you said where you were in Portugal. But I also felt like there's a past life. I don't know if some people believe in it. I do, in regards to past life. I work with many practitioners that do that. Do you have any, are you aware of any past lives that you have? Have you gone through that?
I'm aware that they exist, and I'm definitely a fully subscribed member of the "we live forever" kind of scenario, and our life is broken up by series of incarnations in different places and different dimensions. I also believe that we're multidimensional beings. So this concept of a past life or a future incarnation, I don't quite see it that way. I see time as not a linear thing. It's like they're layers of dimensional reality that all overlap each other. And all my past lives are happening now, and all my future lives are happening now, just on different levels of dimensional reality, because now is all there ever was and all there ever will be. Now is, it's the eternal now. So we can tap into our past lives because they're happening now, and we can affect our past lives through journeying into them through different means of travel and shamanic journeying. And same with the future. We can set things up for the future. Yeah, definitely. I've done, you know, visualizations and meditations from time to time where I've had experiences of past lives, but it's very difficult to know for sure if what I'm seeing is actually something that happened or is happening. You know, I mean, I remember in this same retreat center in Guatemala doing a past life regression, and it was very vivid. At the time, I'd never really been good at visualization. But I went on this whole journey. We went back in time through our life, into the womb, into a dark space. There was a door. We went through the door. We descended down towards the earth. And then the questions were asked, where are you? Where, can you see where you're landing? Where on the earth? Where are you landing? And I had this whole beautiful experience where I landed in the body of an old man who was spent his life traveling across the deserts of Arabia, a trader, a merchant of some kind, quite wealthy. And I was there in this person's body on my deathbed with all my loved ones around me, having this realization that all the wealth in the world means nothing in the light compared with the light of the love of those who are close to me. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And then I woke up from the vision and thought, well, that was amazing. I don't know if that was really a past life experience, but I could still take something from it and still see the beauty in that.
Yeah,
it's just very difficult to tell.
I just feel like everything, you know, whatever you're feeling or intuitively, if something pops up and you're like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to write that down because it's a message, and it could be for future or past, and it could be part of, you know, a past life as well, or a future life. The universe is always speaking to us. A lot of times we're very distracted. We tend to let our ego discount our natural Gut instincts, our protection system. And I live it like, or lucid dreaming. Like I dream, I always ask my clients to keep a dream journal because there are a ton of messages and information in those dreams. Tammy is just saying that her mala literally exploded, beads scattered everywhere. She found 105 out of 108. I feel like Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Wow.
Okay. So if that's how you're feeling, go with it. I always say, go with what feels good. If it lifts,
and it's usually the first thing that comes to your mind.
Yes.
That you haven't thought about. It just, so people ask me quite regularly, oh, I had this dream. What does this dream mean? I'm like, okay, well, what does, we'll break down the elements. What does that part mean to you? What's the first thing that comes to your head? And they go, oh, da, 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 da. It's like, yeah, that's right. It's always the first thing that comes to your mind.
Yes.
Take the rational mind away and go with the instincts.
That's right. That's right. Because 95% of our day is spent in subconscious programming. And only, unfortunately, 5% is spent in consciousness. Wow. Got to flip it around. That's why I work so hard with intuitive development with my clients. It's vital. I'm actually working on something that's called Intuition Saved My Life. All right. So Tammy is just saying, seeing how there were 3 beads missing. Yes, makes sense. That would be a good interpretation. And then she also said that popped in her mind. It was a message that I would be okay. Beautiful. That is beautiful. And the more we talk to ourselves that way as well, and just trust and faith and surrender are huge. If those are going to be your mantras, then use those as part of your daily affirmations or meditations, or even journaling, gratitude journaling.
There's 3 words, one for each bead that was missing.
Oh, yes. There you go. Yeah. Wonderful. She's saying absolutely. So what are you working on right now? I mean, why are you in Portugal?
Oh, wow. I really have had enough of living in the UK. So it's a very intense place, particularly London.
It looks very busy. It
is. I mean, there's like 12 million people in London.
Oh my goodness.
And it's nuts, and as someone who's quite sensitive and becoming more and more so, just walking through the streets of the city with millions of people around me just feels like this barrage of energy from all over the place. And my wife is 100 times more sensitive than I am.
Oh, okay.
And, it's just not a nice place to live for, an empath. So we're looking for somewhere, a little more quiet, where there's less people, more nature, where we can just grow some roots. And then from that place of rootedness, groundedness, and being earth, we can then go back to the city, do some work, and then leave. And then we can
just little hits, just enough to say, okay, I'm in, and then I'm out, and you're like, oh, I'm so glad I'm here.
Yeah. I mean, beautiful. I didn't want to live too far away from the UK because, 20 odd years ago, when I first went to Central America, I fell in love with it. I wanted to live there. And we went there recently to have a look. And I realized that as beautiful as it is, it's so far from my tribe. And I'm never going to see anyone. It's $1,000 to fly across the pond, It's like, it's crazy money. But in Portugal, you can fly for, less than $100 sometimes. So it makes it more accessible. It makes us more accessible. And Portugal's a beautiful place, very natural. It's pretty easy going. It's comfortable. The weather's good.
Obviously.
So we're here looking for a new home.
And would I be fair to guess that the people are more laid back, more relaxed?
Much more laid back. It's a lot less stress here. In England, and I'm sure it's the same in any big city in the developed world. People are on the clock. People are not able to be present because there's always this thing ticking on your wrist, or now it's on your phone.
Yes.
You know, that you have to do this by this time. Everybody's on a deadline. Everyone's living in the future or in the past. So we're missing our whole lives by being not present, by being not in the moment.
Yes.
And I realized that I don't want to get to the end of my life and regret missing it.
Gosh, everything you're saying, I was listening to Wayne Dyer this morning. I love listening to him. He said, "Don't die with the music still in you," and that's the message I heard when you said, you know, you don't want no regrets. Live your life fully, not for someone else, but for yourself. I feel, well, I mean, I was caught up in that whole corporate cog. I was part of that wheel, and I felt like, I still don't feel like I belong here. So I know for a fact I'm supposed to be by the ocean. That's where I belong. So one day I'm going to get there. So
yeah, I'm glad you got out of the corporate world. You know, that could have really done some serious long-term damage.
I had 2 attempts at suicide. I was close.
Yeah.
And I'm not embarrassed to say so. Okay, I'm just going to switch to Terry. She's saying that she's really trying to listen to my intuition lately. I do a weekly energy update. We talked about that. And in my message on Sunday, it was from Spirit. I am looking to mentor someone once a month. That's my way of giving back. And there's a few ladies that are in the mix, but I just, I feel that's my small piece. I mean, there's so many charities and such, but I really feel, and maybe you would agree that if you could start with one person and then share what you do to somebody else, and then they can share it, and together we heal. Does that?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I started teaching one-on-one. I worked for many years with tarot and doing intuitive readings and guiding people and seeing people one-to-one, and sometimes that would, lead into other things, and I'm teaching people healing, and doing that one-to-one. After a while, it just kind of became, I was too stretched. So started organizing more kind of classroom scenarios where I can, take a good small group of people and, work with groups, and then see them go out and share. That is amazing.
Spread their wings, fly, butterfly.
Yeah.
Tanya, she said she was born in Portugal. Wow. And where are you now, Tan? Oh, she's from she jumped ahead. She's in Massachusetts now. Well, welcome. Okay. Thank you for joining us. Liz joins quite a bit, I think she's talking empath. She can totally relate to what we're both saying. And when you said empath, and then I'm like, it's amazing how we are so drawn to each other.
Yeah, well, we need the support. It's hard to be an empath on your own. Most empaths have no idea that this is a blessing. Most empaths actually feel like it's a curse, and they hate being an empath. They can't walk down the street without, or walk into a room of people without feeling everyone's pain.
Yes.
It's, to be an untrained empath is it's very, very difficult. But when we come together and we support each other, and we can help each other to understand how we can use our skills and how we can lift and transmute the pain of other people, that we have to kind of bear it all by ourselves. We can really support each other, and that's so important.
Yeah, and not being caught up in our perfection, because that's an ego trait as well, or worth. I think, especially for women, but as empaths as well, that worth piece. Like I think a lot of us were told we're not worthy. And
yeah, it's a very big program.
You're not important, and who do you think you are? And there's a lot of comparison as well. So I'm trying real hard to impart that you were born perfectly. You are a child of God. You are light. You are love. You are all that and more. Terry is saying that she moved to the beach a few years ago, now working to leave the corporate world. Yay!
Terry.
Congrats!
Fantastic. Inspiration to a lot of people, I hope.
Yes, very inspiring. And I'm seeing that a lot more actually where I am. I'm hearing of people moving to Mexico, or, they become snowbirds and then they're like, I'm just going to stay here. I like it here. Or, moving to Central America, South America. I know a few people that have done that as well. So Tanya is asking if she wonders why she sees 444 every day for the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's really interesting. My wife keeps seeing 444 and 444 and 144 and 1144. Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, fours are all about stability, aren't they? They're structure and grounded and foundations and building and growth. And it's also a very joyful number.
I would agree. That's my favorite number.
Mm.
I love fours, and when I see numbers, it's in triplicate. It's always 333 or 222, and I pay attention. So pay attention to what's going on around you. Like, what are you seeing? What are you feeling? Who are you talking to? What are you thinking about?
And what are the patterns? Because if you're constantly thinking the same thing, when you see that repeating number, there's something there to pay attention to. Yes.
And then say thank you and ask for more. Show me more signs. Some people get numbers. Some people get animals. Some people get coins. Some people get feathers. Some people get songs. When I do readings, I get songs. Because in music, I mean, music is beautiful. That's why there are healing frequencies, delta waves, theta waves, all of that. It's your soul. That's your soul music. There's a reason you're hearing it. So pay attention to what that means. And if you're not sure, then start writing it down. I always say, just write it down and come back to it.
It's very powerful.
You can't figure it out. Sometimes you're not ready for that message as well.
I don't think we would get a message that we're not ready for. And I feel like, going back to this multi-dimensional layers of reality, I feel like if we are the type of person who is quite tuned in, then it's likely that we have and we will always be. So why not journey back in time to be the spirit guide for your past self?
That's beautiful.
And a lot of the journeying that I do with people is about that. People are dealing with lots of trauma, and I say, okay, well, let's journey back in time and imagine or be the person, the imaginary friend of your child self, and talk yourself through this experience, how you can take the lessons and the blessing, and how you can stay safe, and how you can grow from the situation.
Yes.
And then once that happens in that layer of reality, it affects this one, because we become the person who wasn't traumatized by that, because we had that older, wiser spirit guide, imaginary friend, helper, higher self guiding us through it. At the same time, we have the higher self, the future self of us from this perspective, giving us messages now in a way that we can receive them. So maybe we're too old to believe in imaginary friends, but
I'm not.
Well, no, not either. But we can see these signs and these numbers and these totems and these indications that we're on track or we're off track. And that could be us giving ourselves those messages from a different dimensional reality.
True enough. That makes a lot of sense, definitely. Terry is saying, my daughter-in-law and I just created and are teaching our first class at the local recovery house, and it's been such an amazing experience. And the women are so inspiring. We're learning as we go. That's beautiful. I feel that we're all students of the universe. We learn and we teach and we share, and that's what we're here for. She's found a great community down there. That's amazing when you can find your tribe or, souls that resonate. You got that vibe going, and it just feels like home. Yeah. Brittany she's from Florida. Lucky gal. Would you like some of our snow? And she's also, she's saying that she hears music all the time. Music is like, it's your soul. It's like your calling card. Is that certain songs, certain music? Actually, they're saying like a lot of tones in this month. There's going to be new tones in music. So if you're musically inclined, try to get the higher frequency, if that makes sense. She always wondered what it was. Your soul's talking to you.
Well, the universe speaks in vibration.
Yes.
So, taking what's available, what's there in the ether, and just directing it to support a person in their progress. I know from my experience in the Amazon that the trees and the plants communicate through song, and they have icaros, they call them. There's medicine songs, these chants of the different plants and the trees. I was in the forest a year or two ago, and I kept receiving songs. They weren't icaros. Icaros have got a very specific kind of style. And I was thinking about this. How come I'm not receiving icaros? I'm like, oh, well, of course, it's not really my culture. Culture I come from, we have different type of songs, and the trees are always singing to me in that way. And I received some beautiful songs from these trees, and it wasn't necessarily the words of the song that had the power, but it was an energy that was carried on the thread of the song. And I was woken up from a dream by the song and carried, like I was riding this song like it was a huge serpent, and I was taken out of one dream and into another.
I could see it. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, spirit communicates like this.
Beautiful.
So, yeah, pay attention.
Definitely.
Pay attention. Yeah.
Well, Tanya's saying it will bring abundance. There is no hope. It's already done. That's the law of attraction and manifestation is it's already happened. It is.
And in fact, Tanya, that hoping for something prevents it from coming. Because by putting out the vibration that you hope something will happen, what you're actually putting out there is the vibration that it hasn't happened.
Yes.
And it's a friend of mine speaks very beautifully on prayer, and she explains this very, very nicely. She says, the universe works in vibration. So whatever vibration we put out will then come back to us. If we put out prayers for something, like praying for something, the example I always give is, oh Lord, please buy me a Mercedes Benz. What Janice is putting out there is the vibration that I don't have a Mercedes Benz. So she ain't ever going to get that car. But if you pray something, what that means is to sense, feel, imagine, and vibrate the thing that you want. So if you want the Mercedes Benz, these people talk about, The Secret and the manifesting, they talk about, imagine what it feels like to drive the car, smell the leather, see the walnut dashboard, and hear the sound of the stereo and the vibration of the engine, and it's got to become an emotional experience. So if you want abundance, then feel what it would feel like to have all the things that you want and what abundance means to you. And sometimes we need to think, okay, well, let's be practical about it. It means money in this day and age, so feel what it feels like to look at your app on your banking app and see, hey, I've got $25,000 I can play with, or whatever the number is for you.
Yes.
How would that feel to be able to have everything you want at your disposal? And get emotional with it. It's no good just thinking about it.
Yes.
Because we have these two energies. We have this electric energy of the mind, and we have this magnetic energy from the heart. When those two energies join together and you send that out into the universe, that's what brings you back what you're praying. So prayer has got lots of kind of odd connotations and feelings about it, because people get taught to pray within religions that are quite twisted and mixed up and half truths, but prayer is a very, very powerful thing. And whatever your connection is with the divine, whether you call that the universe or spirit or creator or God, what I don't mind what you call it. It's your relationship.
Exactly.
You connect with that source and send those two energies, the electric and the magnetic out. That's what's going to bring you the abundance you're desiring.
And beautiful. And also, I would maybe add on writing it down. Write down what you are, act like you already have it, and write it down, saying, and acting like 5 years, you already have the car, you have the money, and this is what my life looks like you're telling somebody about it. Yes.
Yeah, writing it down is very, very powerful.
And a lot of, if you don't like to write, you can just sing it, a voice memo, whatever it happens to be, and just do it that way, or record a video.
Yeah, it's the modern way of writing things down.
Yes. Brittany is saying yes, and she swears as a child she always thought I was an imaginary friend. Okay. Or that you had an imaginary friend, I guess that's what she's saying. And Tanya, it will happen, and so it is.
I hope.
Terry is, because I brought up Metatron. Metatron came through one of my cards on Sunday, and she keeps seeing references in the last 10 days. So Metatron is the keeper of some people call it Akashic records or past lives. Just had a flicker of light here. I wondered if we were going to lose power. That's
just saying hello.
Yeah, he's saying hi. So Terry, I ask you to, maybe look at a meditation. There are many that you can find actually on YouTube for a meditation going into a past life. I'm working on one as well. I don't know if Copal has any reference to Metatron at all.
Nothing specific really comes to mind. Okay. I tend to keep my connection with Creator Spirit. I tend not to work with other beings. That's just my preference.
Yeah, no, and everybody is different. I mean, if you love angels, if you love crystals, whatever it happens to be, your guides, spirit, light, God, Buddha, whoever it happens to be, just go with what feels good at the end of the day. Liz, she kept a gratitude list for certain things, and I would go over it daily with love and joy, and I was given more than I asked for. Nice. Very nice.
That's great.
That is great.
Gratitude is such a powerful thing because we don't always know what we're going to be grateful for, but if we develop that attitude of gratitude, we end up being grateful for everything, and everything that comes is a blessing. We see it as a blessing. And because we're in that spirit of gratitude, just the universe keeps providing us with more things to be grateful for. And it's the same with the flip side of things. You speak a lot about depression, and I'm sure your experience has been that if you focus on the things that you're depressed about, that magnifies.
Yes.
Because it's the magnetic energy of the emotions combined with the electric energy of the mind. Again, whatever you focus that on, you will be attracted to. So if you're focusing on all the horrible things in life, it's going to carry you in that direction, and it's going to bring those things to you. Shift that focus and become, gratitude centric.
Yes.
Then that's what you're going to experience. It's like we're using the mind to guide and partially we're using the mind to guide the emotions. But at the same time, emotions come by themselves and we observe them. We don't try to control them. So it's kind of a balance between that. We can use the mind to create a fortunate emotional state. We can convince ourselves to be happy. We can change our thoughts with our mind, and that filters down into our emotional state. But at the same time, we need to be conscious of what is coming up emotionally so that we can allow that to rise and not suppress.
Yes, I think a lot of times the ego, here we go. I have a separate group for ego because there's a lot of people not sure what that is or what that means, But we tend to always go to the negative. It's like we're Velcro for the negative and Teflon for the positive. I love that reference. I can't remember who said that. I think Bruce Lipton did. And I've been diving into a lot of his stuff as well, talking about subconscious programming and consciousness and our cells and the placebo and the nocebo effect. I'm learning so much.
That's great.
And
keep learning.
Yeah, definitely. I love this platform as well. Tanya is saying she went to a medium and she said I was hard to read. Okay.
Maybe you want to be.
Yes, that as well. You know, I welcome all pessimists and skeptics. What I don't welcome is if you're coming in there to test, and then I'll gladly give your money back, because you have to be open, just like you have to be open to, you know, gratitude, to faith, to spirit, to the universe. If you're not and you're closed off, then that's what you're going to get. That's just my experience, but
same. I would agree with that. What did they say? The mind is like a parachute. It only works if it's open.
Ah, there we go.
And my father, who's comes out with the most amazingly profound pearls of wisdom, he said, yeah, but you don't want your mind to be so open that your brains fall out.
That's
that
true.
can happen too.
I did talk about that on Sunday as well. That's interesting. It's the synchronicity. But saying that if you get a message from spirit, a lot of people just start. I used to do it. Would go running. You know, if spirit said go do this, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do it. Or you need to do that. Actually, a lot of times we need to just sit with it and let it marinate and permeate and decide.
And also check which spirit it came from.
Yes, that's true.
You know, sometimes their ancestors come through and say, you know, oh, you should do this. And, you know, I've had some, you know, ancestors who are, you know, not, you know, completely sane. You know, that their advice isn't always that good.
True enough. That is true. So your best advice is, you know, the merge between, you know, conscious and the conscious mind and the spirit world, and just your own intuition as well.
Our intuition is so valuable.
It is. Tammy's saying thank you for all your advice, and Brittany's like, overthink. That's me. Analysis paralysis. I did that too. I'd second guess myself, and that's why I feel developing that intuitive muscle it's night and day.
I think we really need to be quite embodied. You know, it's like people say, yeah, I feel it in my guts, you know, and you know, I've heard women saying about, you know, oh, listen to your ovaries, you know, it's like we feel these things in our bodies, you know, our body has so much wisdom, and sometimes you can't get the answer with the mind.
No,
you have to look more deep than the mind.
Yes,
mind is very limited. You know, as you say, we're only using 5% of our consciousness.
That's right, and those tapes were already programmed before the age of 6. In fact, he's even saying that it started in the womb. So if the mom was stressed, guess what baby's going to be?
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming into the world feeling like, I don't belong
Well,
here.
Yeah, stress is adrenaline, and adrenaline is a highly addictive drug. So, you know, we're basically born adrenaline junkies.
Yeah. Oh, wow. There you go. Tanya's saying, I don't have much people who have passed. It's more than just that. But Terry's also saying she had a really good experience with my reading with Christine, and I had a great experience with you, Terry. Thank you. Kelly, I love you too. You're such a sweetheart. Thank you. Feeling the love today. I knew today would be amazing, but this is just, you guys are blowing me away, Copal. Everything that, you know, you've talked about, I love. There's such a synchronicity here. Oh, Brittany. She's saying, you know, I have had depression ever since I was 16, and I'm finally overcoming it. It's crazy. I finally opened up to myself because I was blocking it like a shield for so long. Moving away has helped me a lot as well. I have my days, but I feel I finally have control of my mind. That's amazing. That's amazing. I love that. That's beautiful.
You may
And
be
yes.
lifting stuff that's not yours,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
I
There's
see
so
it
many
like
reasons
this,
that,
like just stacking and stacking. Go ahead.
yeah, I think a lot of people, particularly people who are, into this kind of stuff, like spiritually minded people, we are not from this world. We've
Mm,
come here with a soul contract, with a mission, and sometimes that mission
yes.
is to lift a bloodline. So we
Mm,
come into a family where, a whole lot of stuff has gone down, and lots of trauma and abuse and all these kind of things. And we feel like we don't belong there.
mm,
And often this feeling of not belonging can induce depression, because everybody wants to feel like they're at home. Everyone wants to feel like they're loved. We come into this family of people that feel on some level a bit like aliens, It's like, who are these
mm,
people, And that's really tough. But we've in many cases come to these families in order to lift that bloodline, to delve into the trauma of that family and to clear it. And
mm-hmm.
we can do that through, many different ways. We can do it shamanically. We can do it through Vipassana meditation is a great way, and all sorts of things we can do. But by lifting that energy, by transmuting that energy, we fulfill our contract. We clear that particular bloodline. And the work that we do in this life, if we become, they say in Tibetan Buddhism, that if we become enlightened, whatever that means, we clear the bloodlines for 7 generations before us and
And
for 7 generations yet to come.
yes,
That's massive.
that's
That's
beautiful.
massive. And what that means to me is clearing out all the trauma
Mm,
and overcoming something like depression that you've had since 16 is childhood. Clearing that is massive, and that's going to have repercussions for your whole family and for you for your whole life as well.
yes, I feel like, in just saying that, even with myself, like when you said black, I felt like I was a black sheep, an outsider, didn't belong, alien, all of that resonated. And Brittany, and just like myself, you have collectively cleared. You have come here for a reason, and that was your purpose. Just like mine. And I say unconditional love, unconditional love. That's
Key.
it's huge. I didn't feel like I mattered. I'm sure that resonates with a lot of people. I didn't feel like I always, when people would say, oh, you're too sensitive, you cry too much, they want to put you in this box, they want to stuff you into this conform.
Hmm.
And the whole time I was fighting. So yeah, that's beautiful, Brittany. She's also saying, and anxiety all in one. It's crazy, but I'm getting control over it. My mind goes crazy. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, and I also, people say, I feel like I'm losing my mind. I feel crazy. And then I think it was Jim Carrey that said, because he became spiritually, inclined a couple of years ago. He said, I went crazy. I lost my mind, and then I found myself.
Hmm.
Mm,
Yeah, the mind does cover the self.
definitely. So,
Yeah.
don't know if anybody else has any other questions. Please share this out. And look, I mean, it's almost been an hour. I could
It's gone
actually talk
fast.
for another hour, but I want to be, I want to think of everyone else's time as well, and yours. I know it must be almost midnight there, right? Is that the time
Yeah.
difference? Okay,
Yeah,
so
very close to midnight. Yeah.
thank you so much for staying up. I don't know if you're a night owl, but
Yeah, sometimes. And
sometimes, yeah.
yeah, I like the nighttime. The energies are quieter. There's a reason that people traditionally get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to start their meditation, because everyone else is asleep. The
Yeah.
psychic energies are much quieter, much better time to do our spiritual work or any work for me, and I think for a lot of empaths, it's a nice time to be awake. Everyone else is asleep. So get up in the middle of the night and do everything you want to do and just feel peaceful and calm and quiet. Love it.
Yes, just have a practice. And I do that. That's part, I have a self-care practice, which involves all of that and getting up earlier than normal, than most. Between 3 and 5, yes, that is a spiritually aware time, spiritually awake time. A lot of people say I'm awake at that time, and I'm like, well, that's a message. That's you're supposed. You got to get going. You got to. I guess you give yourself a spiritual kick in the butt, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And Brittany's just saying it's 6 here. Yes. I think, what time is it? Oh, it's almost 5 here, but Liz is saying thank you. Now, I just want to mention, if anybody has any questions after the replay, we will both respond and reply to you. Please share this out. So maybe someone else can catch this. Please share this podcast as well. I do individual and group readings and clearings and all that fun stuff. But Copal is also, he is coming to Canada, and I'm going to leave all of his links about the training that's going on, and then how you can reach him as well. Would you like to talk more about your coming to Saskatoon?
Yeah, it's really exciting. I met someone on Instagram, and she said that she'd really like to do my course. Do I ever get out to Canada? I said, I've never been to Canada, but I'd love to go. If you know some people that would like to, learn about shamanic energy healing, then I'll come. And she got very excited. Her name's Michelle. I think she was the first person, Michelle Paul. She's the first person who commented on this thread.
Yes.
So you could connect with her, you could connect with me, and we can send you the information about that. We're coming out mid-February, and I'll be teaching the Shamanic Energy Healer training, which it's a lot of fun. It's a great course. I said, you mentioned in the introduction to me that I believe everyone is a healer. And what I mean by that is that every single human being has the ability to connect with Creator Spirit, with God, with the divine. And we can channel that energy through us and send that into somebody else for the purpose of healing them. And we can send it back into ourselves. We can circulate it through ourselves to heal ourselves. But we can share that with other people. And we all know how to do this. And I feel like, in a way, I'm kind of it's like teaching my grandma to suck eggs, because I believe that everyone can do this. So I'm teaching people what they already know, but maybe they've forgotten that they know it.
Yes.
And I've been doing this for a long time, and I've had some great guides, both physical and spiritual, who have taught me some amazing techniques. So I'm sharing essentially everything I know about healing. And each module of the course is a weekend long, and I'll be teaching the first module in Saskatoon this February. Beautiful. I'm very excited to be coming to Canada. I've always wanted to go.
Yeah, and we're excited to have you. I will travel 6 hours to come and see you. Amazing. And then who knows, maybe we'll bring you to Edmonton and, Calgary, and who knows where this will go, right?
Yeah, Calgary's on my radar as well. I've got some friends out there, and I'd love to go to Calgary, and I'd love to, what tends to happen is I'll go to a place with a course, and then of course I have to go back next year to teach the module 2, and then there's other modules, and it just grows like that.
Wonderful.
So I could see Canada be a lovely place to develop a connection with. I know you've got some amazing ancient shamanic traditions there, and some beautiful indigenous cultures that I would love to explore.
Yes.
There's a lot of phenomenal wisdom in the in your lands, and I for one would like to tap into that. And if I can inspire people who live there to do the same, then how cool would that be?
Very cool. And I want to thank you, Copal, for joining us today. Gosh, I learned so much, and I just want to, pass this on, and I'm going to share this with everyone I know, and I can't wait to meet you, in person in February, which is not that far away. So
it's really not. It's really not. A few short months.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed chatting with you and meeting some of your friends online here, and I look forward to seeing you as well. It'd be amazing.
Yes, definitely. And I want to wish you guys love, light, and blessings. And if you know of somebody that you'd like to be on my show, The Power of Healing Your Energy, feel free to comment below or share it out. Always looking for guests to raise that collective energy. like, again, healing begins where the ego ends. And take care, guys. Love you.